Dear students, welcome to my English YouTube channel, English with MALLIK sir. We have, in the last class, we have discussed about the fundamentals of English grammar, what is English grammar, who is the father of English grammar, what is the significance or importance of English grammar in our sentence construction, and also the construction of word, phrase, clause, and different types of sentences. Side by side, we have also discussed about the letters, different, that is what uppercase, lowercase, it means the capital letters, small letters, differentiation in between, the semi-vowels, that is what called vowels and semi-vowels, which are the semi-vowels, that is W and Y, how they are called part-time vowels or semi-vowels, as they are used mostly as consonants, but sometimes they are used as vowels. Yes, and in this segment we have to discuss about the capitalization or the rules of using capital letter. Dear students, these are very sensitive matters because after passing or completion of higher academic education, also a number of persons commit mistake, even the students, no doubt, of high school stage, that is what we call the +2, +3, PG level. Even after passing and getting entertaining any profession, usually people commit mistake in writing the capital letters, mostly due to lack of practice, or that is fundamental or background. As we have discussed that background or basic knowledge is very important. We should therefore focus more, very importantly, focus or stress on the basics of everything. And here, this is also another basic problem, what is usually found in the community of our students. And yes, therefore here we find capitalization or rules of using capital letters. How this is also very important segment in connection with the fundamentals of English grammar. Okay, so here we find that how the capitalization or rules of using capital letters. As we know, small letters, lowercase, letters are frequently used in our written English, but capital letters are sometimes used, but in a very sensitive manner. In the sense, if we write the capital letters where there is the necessity of small letters, then definitely we will commit mistakes. Therefore, we should be sincere at the time of using capital letters in right places. And how and in which way that can be possible, there are some guiding rules and of capitalization. Therefore, it is very necessary on the part of the seniors and also juniors and also seniors to know what are the rules behind the using of capital letters. Yes, now here we find that the first letter of the first word of a sentence is capital. It is very interesting factor, as you know also, that the first letter of the first word of a sentence must be capital. This is a very mandatory rule, and here we find that don't capitalize after semicolons or commas. It means if we write something and find a compound sentence or complex sentence, whenever we use comma, don't use capital letter after the words which are used just after comma or that is semicolon, because if we use capital letter then it will be wrong. But if it is a proper noun, then capital letter, then after comma or semicolon we can use. Therefore, very important factor is here that never use if it is not a proper noun. So after comma or semicolon, small letter. But at the beginning of each letter, it may be simple, it may be compound, it may be complex. The first letter must be capital. This is the matter. Here we find some examples that man is a social animal. Here we find that how man is a social animal. Man is a social animal. What is the time? By your watch. Don't talk nonsense. Here we find that simple sentences are here. Man is a social animal. M must be capital because this is the beginning letter of this sentence. This is a simple sentence. What is the time? By your watch. So naturally here we find what is the, in what W is the capital letter, must be capital letter, and don't talk nonsense. Imperative sentence, D must be capital. So here we find that how capital letters should be used must be used. Must be, I repeat, capital letter must be used at the beginning of each sentence. The next idea, what we find, that the first letter of every line of a poem. The first letter of every line of a poem. Here we find whenever we are writing poem, the first letter of every line must be capital. Just for example, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. It is rhyme which is taught to our little children. And here we find whatever the poem it may be, woods are lovely, dark and deep, and I have promises to keep, miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. In this connection, we find that the first letter of each line of a poem, of any stanza of a poem, must be capital. This should be remembered. Again, the other idea what we find that the first letter of direct speech of a quotation, direct speech or a quotation. Naturally, whenever we write the direct speech of any dialogue or quotation or the speech of anybody with the help of direct speech, definitely the first letter must be capital. Here, just look at the matter. Here, Sujata says. Here, Sujata, proper noun, S capital, it is very natural because the beginning of a proper noun must be capital. My father is a doctor. My father is a doctor is a direct speech. And here in this connection, or this is what called a quotation, and which has been written in the quotation marks, and my father, M must be capital because this is a direct speech, and whenever we write direct speech, the first letter must be capital. Teacher told the students, be regular. Be regular. Here, imperative sentence, be is the first letter, though you is the subject, but be regular, be is the first letter of this sentence, therefore B must be capital. Another idea that is therefore it is clear that whenever we write direct speech, we should remember that the first letter must be capital. Whenever the beginning sentence of the complex sentence will be capital. Side by side, the first letter of the direct speech must be capital. Again, the first letter of all proper nouns. The first letter of all proper nouns or name of persons, name of a person, place, thing, day, month, language, nationality, events of historical importance, geographical location, organization is always made capital wherever it is placed in a sentence. Remember, dear students, the very important and interesting factor here is that we use in our writing frequently a number of proper nouns. And at that very moment, we should be very much conscious that the proper nouns must be, the beginning letter of a proper noun must be capital. And if it consists of 2 to 3 words, then also, for example, the First World War. And here we find this is the name of any war, therefore here First World War. The first letter of each word must be capital. We will go this point. Here we find that all the proper nouns, what we write, we should be careful at the time of writing using the capital letters. And here we find that Sunit, name of a boy, is capital, Nivedita, N capital, Mr. Das, here M capital and D is also made capital. Mahanadi, Bhubaneswar, Chilika, Bay of Bengal. Remember here, Bay of Bengal. Here, Gulf of Mexico, Odisha, India, Asia, Monday, January, means here we find the Monday, January, and here Diwali, the times of India. Here we find that preposition, whenever is there, preposition, and that is what we call conjunctions, it must not be capital. Here we find India, Dr. Behra, and here St. Thomas, English, Odia, etc. So here we find that how we use the first word and the last word of title importance. Here we find the first word and the last word of a title or important event are capitalized. Never capitalize it. Prepositions, articles, and coordinating conjunctions if they are in between the title. As I have already told you that a title is also a proper noun and taking in a lot of important words. Therefore, at that whenever we write different titles, the beginning letter of almost all the words must be capital. But here we find never capitalize prepositions. Whenever preposition comes in between the title, that should not be changed into capital. Another idea that is preposition articles, as you know, a and the, and coordinating conjunctions or either or otherwise though, although, etc. If it comes in between the title, they must not be changed into capital. Again, coordinating conjunctions if they are in between the title. And I think you got it better. So remember here that whenever you are writing a title, at that very moment we should be very much careful in using the capital letters, but not in the case of prepositions, articles, and coordinating or conjunctions. I wrote a paragraph on time. Time is money. So time is money is a title. Here we find T, I, and M. All these must be capital. The first battle of Panipat. Here preposition of it is not changed into capital. O must be small. The Second World War, Parambir Chakra, PV, Parambir Chakra. Here Param, P, V, and C must be capital. Iron Age, modern age, medieval period. And here we find Iron Age. Alexander the Great, article here, but it must be small. But Alexander the Great, Ashok the Great. So here we find that Alexander the Great, and the fire in the sky and a rainfall. It is also the title of a poem, The Fire in the Sky and a Rainfall. Here, look at this title, the T capital, fire, F capital, and here, but in the preposition, and the is the article, sky, S is a noun, and therefore it should be capital, and is a conjunction. It is not made capital, A is not made capital, A article, again rainfall. It is also a noun having importance, therefore the words having importance, the first letter must be capital in a title. So whenever we write any title of a poem, story, prose, essay, etc., or anything. So we put emphasis on the title, and at that very moment we should be very much careful in using the capital letters in proper places. Remember, next, the other idea what we find, the personal pronoun I. As you know that I is a personal pronoun. Many of our students even use small letters whenever they come to the midpoint of the line of a sentence. Therefore, we should guide them that how capital personal pronoun I must be capital wherever it may remain at the beginning, or it may remain in the middle, or it may remain at the end of the sentence. It must be capital. This is a very unique factor, and here this is unique to English. Very interesting. Therefore, I, because it has its own importance, and this is unique in English. I must be capital wherever it may be written in a sentence. Yes, and here we find, I have given 3 examples. I don't agree with you on this proposal. I is kept at the beginning, therefore capital. It is I who, relative pronoun is here, it is I who know the secret. So, if listen here, we find it is I who know the secret. Who am I? This is very interesting question. Who am I? and this is philosophical in the sense if we introspect on our identity, then definitely this is very interesting factor, and this is what we call introspection, atma samikya karna. Therefore, here we find, therefore, here we find that I, the personal pronoun, wherever may be used in a sentence, must be capital. Okay, thank you. Next come the first letter. The first letter of proper noun. The first letter of proper noun, indicating country or continent or and adjectives derived from them to indicate their nationalities. So here we find that as we know that proper noun, the first letter of a proper noun must be capital. This is very common, and therefore we should be careful. Whenever we derive any adjective indicating nationality or resident of any area, it may be any state or any nation or any continent. Here we have to be careful that any adjective that we derive from the noun, proper noun, also the first letter must be capital. Then how? For example, here we find India, and with the Indians, Indian is the adjective. Indian culture, Indian way of living. So you see, Indian, and Indian is the capital, and I of Indian, the I must be capital, because Indian comes from India. India is the proper noun, Indian is the adjective which is derived from India. And here, therefore, India. Again, China, Chinese, Switzerland, Swiss, France, French, Asia, continent, Asian, Odisha, we say Odisha or Odisha. The naturally, Odissean dance, as in Odia we say Odissi dance, Odissean. So here we find that how we can use adjectives deriving from nouns in order to express or form our noun phrases. So here we say that these are the matters. Therefore, the noun and the adjectives which are derived from the nouns, the first letter must be capital. So therefore, we should be very much careful in this connection. And the next item is here, that the first letter of the name of any deity, and the pronoun used for him or her or him to respect them. Naturally, we are all very much conscious about the ideas that we respect the supernatural. God. These are the supernatural things. We have never seen God, but God is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnicompetent. It means Sarva Vidyaman, omnipresent, Sarva Shaktiman, omnipotent, and Sarvagyata, omniscient. So here we find this is the Vedic philosophy, and Eka Brahma Dvitya Nasti, God is one. That is our philosophy, Sanatan beliefs. And here we find that we are, no doubt, we believe in one God. We also believe in pluralism in God. So you listen that this is supernatural affair, you know better, but God, whenever one, definitely we respect, and for him we use G capital, and in order to respect God, we use H capital. and Ganesh. Ganesh Durga, for example, you see, listen, God blesses his favorite sons. Naturally, we are the sons or daughters of one God. We may divide ourselves in different sectors. This is not the wish of God. The mercy of God that we are all one and having the same pursuit and same goals and same lifestyle wherever we may reside, and above all the caste, creed, sex, religion, boundaries and differences, we are all one. So this is no doubt very interesting factor, and we should believe in that is cosmopolitan outlook, Vasudhaivam Kutumbakam. And here we find that God blesses his favorite sons naturally, who has been given birth or who has taken us to this earth, also takes care of us. Therefore, it's very natural. Here we find God blesses his mostly due to respect such supernatural power. And here we find Ma Durga, or Ganesh Durga, forgives her children. It is her is used for the respecting Ma Durga, and here Ma Durga, M capital, D capital, here her is also H capital, mostly due to respect Goddess Durga. This is very natural. Therefore, because we are all religious persons, it means we all are bound to be religious, because we have never seen God, but we feel the presence of God everywhere, at everything, everywhere. So that we surrender, and it's very natural. And therefore, we respect God, and for this we use his and her. Okay. But in ordinary cases, so I have given my bike to someone. So my M is not capital. She has forgiven her code, that is password, that is her H must not be capital. But whenever we respect our gods and goddesses, definitely we take the help of it. Again, another, God or goddess must be written in a small. If we believe in pluralism of God, it means Anekar Vyavastha, it means number of gods. In that case, God must be small. But one God, G capital, one. तो गीता को सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज. तो naturally this is a great philosophy that only one supernatural God is there. And next here we find believe in God, or goddess, we believe in God. If you want God, then G must be capital. The other idea what we find that single letters forming abbreviations or initialisms. It means single letters forming abbreviations or initialisms. And here we find doctor for doctor, and here saint for street, ST for street, or so for Saint Joseph, ST. So here we find, in this case, we use that is what we call initials. In this case, as you write PLB, P capital, so full body. So in initials, PLB. So remember that, in this case, we use also capital letter. And that is single letter forming abbreviations or initials. Capitalize acronyms. Here if you listen, the acronyms means abbreviations, and here we find that sometimes we abbreviate that is what we call acronym. In a number of acronyms or abbreviations are used in order to express ourselves in short, which is because we think that if we write so, then it will be understood by everybody. In that case, we should be very much careful in using capitals. And how? Therefore, you should listen here. ASAP. This is a very short way of as soon as possible. As soon as possible. That is ASAP. In short message writing, we can use this, but we should be careful in using capital letter in this case. Yellow. You only live once. Naturally, this is matter. Ana he. अकेला जाना है अकेला 2 दिन का जिंदगी है 2 दिन का मेला. We have to come one day and we have to leave this world one day. This is very natural. And here in this case, you or yellow, you only live once. In this case, this is also acronym and PIN, personal identification number, as you know, VIP, UK, USA, UNO, DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, CBI, NASA, and NATO, UNESCO. All these are acronyms or abbreviations. So here we find in this case we have to use capital letters and so that we can focus on the name of the institution or any thing which can be expressed in a abbreviation manner. Attention. Next, in a letter writing, the other idea at the time of writing letters. Usually we write letters, formal and informal letters, in order to fulfill our problems, sort out our problems in our day-to-day life. In that case, we should be very much careful. Our children or even the seniors also commit mistakes at the time of using the capital letters. Here we find that whenever we write a salutation, my dear uncle, my M capital, not D. Here uncle, the first and the last where the beginning letter must be capital. Dear Alok, yes, here Alok is proper noun, A must be capital, and D, the first letter must be capital. Sir or madam, S or M must be capital. Esteemed sir, okay, E capital, sir capital, and regards, best wishes. Whenever valediction, I've been at the end of writing any letter, formal or informal, we use best wishes. With best wishes or simply best wishes, with the best regards. And in that case, the capital letter must be used. Subscription, yours affectionately, we can write your affectionate son, daughter, etc. Your affectionate son, yours affectionately. Yours affectionately, Y must be capital here. Yours affectionately, yours truly, ever, yours ever, cordially yours. We can also write in a style, ever yours, affectionately yours. A must be capital, E small. Affectionately yours, ever yours, never yours. Sometimes we also write in with that is something disappointed manner, never yours. So whatever the matter may be, the first letter must be capital. And here we find that yours truly, yours faithfully, as we write, but we should be careful in this connection. How we use capital letter in all these factors. So capitalization is not used at the beginning of season. This is another very interesting factor. Whenever we use capital letter for just for example, Friday, Holy Kadin. So here we find Friday, F must be capital. For example, Mars, M must be capital. But this is summer or spring, S must not be capital. The S, if it remains at the beginning, then we can use capital letter. But if it remains in between the sentence, it should not be capital, rather it should be small. Therefore, that is the difference. But March, it may remain at the beginning or middle or the end. M must be capital. And here we find that in the beginning of season, general directions like north, south, east, west, the first letter must not be capital. And again, etc. Conjunctions, prepositions, as I've already told you, articles to mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, the names of subjects, just for example, physics, chemistry, mathematics. If it is not used at the beginning, then they should not be, the first letter of these words must not be capital. So here we find this is about I think this is all about the capitalization, and it will definitely helpful to you and the students for different level, the professionals, and also it is no doubt a very good chapter, a very good segment, and I hope you will enjoy this segment. And yes, not just see and pass the segments. Just go through all the segments from top to bottom, beginning to end, so that you can enjoy the very interesting factors which are there inside the matter. And subscribe it, try to share as far as possible, and also give your comment, or that is for constructive feedback, so that I will be able enough in providing you with the best videos, so that it will be helpful to you and your children, and my dear small students, little children, also seniors, and it will be helpful and useful to you all. Thank you for watching, and wishing you all the best. Bye.